Hello everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Today is Tuesday, July 17, 2018. So I just want to do a little backstory here on where things are at and what I'm planning to do. Alright, so if you watched this video I put out a few days ago entitled at youtube.com/quantlabs, this video went out 5 days ago. Let's maximize our cryptocurrency trading opportunity with portfolio optimization, and there you will find some data that you can use to enhance your trading performance just by using portfolio optimization. Now with that you can get expected return, use different techniques using Markowitz and minimum, I can't remember, but anyways, I want to put out here that if you do watch that video or have watched that video, somebody in my Telegram group has corrected me on the expectation of both Markowitz and Sortino ratio. So if you are interested in the Markowitz, it's spelled Markowitz. If you scroll and you're looking for Sortino, you can spell that by Sortino. I'm not going to explain what they are here, but if you are interested in the comments made, you can go to this website, or sorry, to my blog at quantlabs.net/blog and look for a article called Corrected Markowitz and Sortino Views for Optimal Expected Return. Scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a headline here called Corrected View, and that will explain the better way to go about using portfolio optimization, and probably the correct way as well, and the correct expectation. So that's something that needs to be put out there. Also, we have now the ability to, using, as I said, minimum variance, or I can't remember what it's called, Markowitz and a few others. What we're trying to do here is trying to combine a set of positions that we could take on with different weightings to get an optimal expected return. So this article I mentioned should correct the view of that, and then be able to as well on the weighting side. Now for me, starting out, I don't think the weightings will really matter at this point. They'll probably be equally weighted on new positions opened up each day or each trading session or whatever period I decide. So that's going to be irrelevant. So what we've got here, I wanted to walk you through what will become the watch list. So we have 3 terminal sessions here, and just for those that are on the podcast audio only, you can go to the YouTube channel and there is a visual or video equivalent of what I'm showing here on my desktop. So basically what we've got is this watch list has a need for a database, NoSQL database. In this case, we are using SQL or NoSQL from Redis. I've gone over numerous times. Go into my playlist here on the YouTube channel. You look for Redis playlist right here. We've got over 70 videos. I cover all types of ways to use Redis, so I'm not, again, going to go into details here, but I'm going to launch my Redis server. Just give me a second here. We'll have to pull up my my script. Okay, so we have 2 parts with Redis, as I explained in the video or videos in the Redis playlist. We have here a Redis server, so now it's started up. It's ready to accept connections, and I'm doing this from scratch for anyone that's fairly new to this. But depending upon your operating system, there is a client that you can try to use called Redis Desktop. It's an older version of Redis Desktop, and I want to show you the data that's inside the Redis instance. You can see here we have a table called watchlist crypto, or a hash, I'm sorry. So I'm going to kill these and start over, and I'm going to show you how basically the watch list will work. So first things first is I got to load up the Redis client on the console here, the terminal. I do a flush all on the database, meaning it removes all the content in the database. You can see here we are connecting. So if I go back to the Redis desktop manager and do a reload, you can see here it's empty. So now what we want to do is, because we're not really dealing with live data, I'm going to put in some simulated data. And the type of data we are dealing with is a watch list of cryptocurrency pair, and I'm going to show you how this works. I'm sure this is probably better procedures out there to use. So what I just did is I'm doing a hash set, kind of like an insert into the database with a new hash called watchlist crypto. This is the pair I'm wanting to run. And I just remembered here, I gotta correct something. Okay, that's gonna add that 0. Okay, so what we have here is now a key. So in this case, we're using 80 BTC, and then we have the values for that position. So in this case, what we're doing is we have the number of days that we will allow to sit on this watch list, and there's a couple of indicators I want you to realize on what we're doing here. And this is very loosey-goosey, but these are the ones that seem to be and have been reliable over the data that I've been using and looking at, and what proves to be highly reliable in terms of as an entry. One of them is RSI. So RSI is one of those. So in here, during any of these 7 days, if our RSI is less than 30, it's an entry, or it's one of the conditions for an entry into the market. So what we have here is we count up the number of days and performance of the momentum over the last 30 days. I'm still, it's still in test mode, but we're testing out the momentum, if it's positive or not. And originally I was wanting to measure it against a benchmark. In the world of crypto, obviously a good benchmark is Bitcoin against US dollar. Unfortunately, with Binance, who I'm using, does not have fiat currencies in there, so I had to reach out and go to another exchange to download the data, the latest Bitcoin US dollar price. And the idea there is to measure the performance over the same set of time against the current cryptocurrency I'm watching. So what we're trying to do is, another indicator is not just with RSI, but we want to make sure that this pair, this ADA BTC, outperforms over a set, or maybe a week, 30 days. We want it to make sure it outperforms Bitcoin against US dollar. And the reason for that is, if it's not outperforming the benchmark, then what's the point of putting the trade on? Because you might as well put on the trade with Bitcoin against the US dollar, because historically over the last week or 30 days, where the measurement will be, you'll get better performance. So we want to make sure that's happening, and we do that each and every day. So there's two indicators that we're using. Is our cryptocurrency pair on the watch list outperforming the benchmark, which is again Bitcoin and US dollar, and is at that point the RSI lower than 30, meaning it's undervalued? And from time to time again, especially in a bear market with crypto, this seems to work, and it's been like that for the last month, 2 months. And again, that can change. So again, we will need to adjust our conditions of when we put on positions. So that's what we have here. Is the first set of zeros, or the 0.0, is that performance, the current performance. And then if you count up, you will see that there are 7 days worth of these performance that we measure against Bitcoin US dollar. And the very last one, this last 0, is the number of days that we're tracking. Now, because I am using this sample 88 BTC, what we're doing is we're allowing for 1 week, 7 days, for these conditions to be met, and that's tracked in this very last data point here, the 0. And then what will happen is if it doesn't, we rerun the script and we'll increment again. So the anticipation is to run this script as watch list every day. Now, if I increase this watch list process from once a day to maybe twice a day, 3 times a day, 6 times a day, every few hours, to ensure that these conditions are being met for the current price of this pair, obviously I'll have to change the threshold on this this parameter, because it's set at 7. If it's more than 7, if it's assumed to be run once a day, it will remove this pair out of the database. It will automatically delete it, so the database does not get gunked up. So if we run, let's say, twice a day, obviously we have to change that threshold from 7 days to 14 days. If we're doing it 4 times a day, might have to change it to 28 days. Just give it the opportunity to get to that point. So I'm going to rerun this just a couple times to show you how it's working. Okay. Now, right now, I'm just going to run the one pair. I could run a second pair if I choose, but we won't do that in this case. So what we're going to do is run this script, Python watch crypto, Python. Let's see what happens. So we got some debugging stuff going on, and let me try the other script here, the more updated one. Hopefully that we won't get these weird bugs. This has been heavily debugged. Okay, so we're advancing. So what's going on here is it's capturing the last 7 days, the timestamp, sorry, of this cryptocurrency pair. This is the slope it's measuring on that line of pricing data on those dates. Slope seems to be the most reliable one, as opposed to just using standard momentum or what's the other one? Momentum and rate of change as an example. I have heavily experimented with some of the momentum indicators found in TALib, and it just seems to be that the slope measurement, which is a simple linear regression, which I've highlighted before about a couple of weeks back, on how this is calculated using standard, I can't remember on my math, but one of them on linear algebra, where the formula is y equals is it mx plus b? That's my math skills right there. But it's using that same formula to get that slope. Here, that's the buy signal. This is the benchmark slope. So I don't think we're getting much better performance out of these two. So there's no buying signal. So we'll press a key, press another key, and yeah, there's all kinds of weird bugs in here. But if I go back into my RDDM, the Redis Desktop Manager here, reload everything. Let's see what the values are. So here's our pair that we've inserted with this line here, and this is our latest value. So what's happening here is you can see that the pair is inserted, or has been added. Here's the current slope. Here's the next slope on the first day, and it's already incremented that time period on the 1. So if we run it again, what should be happening is, let's see if this runs again. Okay. Let me just reload, refresh it. so nothing's got updated. But what it would do, it would, if it's the next day, next session, it will add that highlighted to 2, from 1 to 2, and then it will take the next slope and add it to the next area where the zeros are, and it'll keep doing that, and it'll allow a certain amount of time before there's an opportunity for a position to be put on. And once again, the 2 indicators that we're using is RSI on top of is basically our slope of our current pair. This one, let's say, is it outperforming the Bitcoin US dollar one? And if it is, then we put on a position, and then that row is removed out of the table here for the watchlist crypto, and then we open up an actual position, and that position is then created, and what we do there is we watch where it goes live. Live money is now being put on to that position, and then we assign it some extra parameters of a upper and a lower target, of a soft and a hard target. We also apply the ATR, average true range, and there's a formula we can use to calculate what that ATR should be, which is again dynamic. And then what we do is we watch from there on the price, and we could do that every hour, every 15 minutes, every however often we want, to make sure that as the price moves, let's say go up, and we set up our price upper target applying the ATR, and then the range of when to apply a close to take profit, we can do that. But we also gotta, and it's this equivalent of a stop loss, but it's all done virtually, so it's not signaling back to the broker our intentions of what our upper target or lower target will be. And that protects us to make sure if the exchange or a broker that goes into a money market making mode, so that they'll go against us on that position. So if we keep that virtual, what will happen is the next thing is, and we use that upper target as equivalent of our virtual stop loss, we're able to take profit once that ATR level is hit. Now, if the price still continues going up, we don't want to make sure that we're prematurely getting kicked out of our profitable trade. So we have to use it like a trailing stop loss, where if it goes up, let that profit runs, but on the lower bound of the ATR that we set, if it drops below that, then we get out of the trade. It's just obviously you want to get out to minimize your risk and minimize your trading losses, and you cut those losses very fast using the same logic. And at the same time, you're able to kind of guarantee a level of profit if that updated trailing ATR drops below wherever the ATR set at by the system. So that's where we're going at. But I just want to show you the first point of when and how this watch list script will put on a position using, in this case, and I'm sure it's going to change, simple combination of RSI is a below 30, meaning it's undervalued, on top of the outperformance of the current cryptocurrency pair against the Bitcoin US dollar benchmark. Hopefully I'll help you out. You got questions, let me know. Talk to you later.